para ma-express na ako kung gustong isulti. Naman siguro tayo mga congressman diri nga makasabot pod sa akong isulti.
Dali lang po. We will need a...
Okay guys, we're back dahil may magandang developments. Naalala nyo yung sinabi ko na insulto sa previous vlog ko kahapon. Insulto ito sa mga KOJC members na sila ang bumuo, sila ang nagpahirap para bumuo, binuo nila yung mga properties dyan sa Kingdom of Jesus Christ. And then ngayon, may problema si Kibuloy, embes binigay doon si kay Marlon Acobo, yung sinasabi nila na head pastor, binigay kay Duterte. Sabi natin, hindi nga membro ng KOJC si Duterte. Tinatawag pa nga ang Diyos, stupid God. So sabi natin, baka siya talaga ang may-ari. So ngayon, ito maganda. Sabi natin, bakit ang hindi ginawa administrator si Acobo, kundi si Duterte? Kaya ngayon, ito rin ang tanong ni Congressman Raul Manuel. Bakit si Duterte at hindi si Kibuloy? Si Marlon Acobo.
Meron po kayo interpreter.
Okay.
So ngayon pinapasiliti lang si Marlon Acobo, pero I don't know sino yung congresswoman, pero possibly Congresswoman Franz Castro. Sabi niya, kung wala si Kibuloy, wala rin ito lang si Acobo nandito, pero ang binigay yung property doon kay Duterte as administrator, dapat si former President Duterte na ang i-invite natin. Kaya bumalik tayo kasi maganda itong arguments ngayon.
Si PR, yung kanyang experience, bugado po siya, then malapit na kaibigan siya sa ministry.
Muna ang reason, Your Honor.
Yun ang dahilan.
Pastor and Attorney Mark, maraming salamat. Okay.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
related lang po dun sa tanong.
Yes.
So is former President
Si Franz
Duterte
Castro nga.
member of the KOJC?
Yan, no.
At ano yung naging role niya po sa KOJC in the past and present?
Your Honor, dili siya member, pero ang iyahang stand sa Kingdom Ministry is more than a member. Tungod kay ang iyahang respeto sa ministry taas kayo. Sukat pa sa sinugdan.
Hindi siya member ng ministry, but yung kanyang respeto at stand sa ministry is more than a member.
Yun si Marlon Acobo yun sa salita.
Paduano. Then we will now go into we will proceed with further interpretation. The Honorable Paduano.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to clear the previous motion, and I was approved with this committee with regards to the contempt order, Mr. Chairman. We should have a second motion. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I move that we direct the Sergeant at Arms to coordinate with all enforcement agency, particularly the PNP, to bring Pastor Kibuloy in the House premises. So move, Mr. Chairman.
There's a motion by the Honorable Caraps Paduano.
Yan, yun ang warrant
Any
of
second?
arrest. Yan.
Seconded by the Honorable
Nakalimutan
J.D.
nila kanina.
Suarez, Honorable Pimentel, and the Honorable Senior Deputy Speaker Don Gonzales. The chair in objection, the motion of the Honorable Paduano to ask the Sergeant of Arms directing the Sergeant of Arms to bring Pastor Kibuloy to the House premises is hereby approved.
Yun, may dalawa lang.
We now proceed
Dalawa
to the
lang warrant
interpretation.
kay Pastor Kibuloy.
The Honorable J.D. Suarez.
Insofar as the good attorney Topacio is law-abiding and has taken this oath as a lawyer, and insofar as you are going to see the good pastor tomorrow, maybe you can aid the Sergeant of Arms in the exercise of their duty. Hindi, kasi makikita naman kayo bukas, di ba? Sabi
Well, with
ni-
all due respect, that would be a conflict, Your Honor. I hope you will respect the lawyer-client.
Samahan na daw niya yung
But
pulis
I can advise
para
him accordingly, Your
arestuhin
Honor.
si Kibuloy. Ayaw ni
I was just,
Topacio.
under the impression that, of course, you being a lawyer and this being a lawful committee hearing, and what we did was within the bounds of law, you might want to extend your assistance in the exercise of the duties of the committee.
Yeah, Your Honor, I believe that this committee or the House of Representatives is possessed of sufficient power to enforce its orders even without the assistance of this humble representation. But as a lawyer, of course, I will always advise my clients in accordance to my training in the law, Your Honor. That
Thank you very
I can assure the Honorable Committee. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you very much, the Honorable Ferdinand Topacio. Okay, any other question that any other
Mr.
member
Chair.
may have before we move for the maybe finally decide on this resolution? The Honorable Migs Ugrades is recognized. Attorney Migs.
Mr. Chair, just for the clarification of everyone, tama po ba na yung nakita po kasi natin sa news yung whole administrator. So right now, it's not in effect. Just to be clear for the body and the public that hindi pa administrator, Mr. Chair, yung pag-a-appoint po.
Yes. Expressed by Attorney Ambrosio, who was under oath, that he is not yet the administrator as we speak, and it is contingent to anything that may happen to Mr. Acobo.
Mr. Chair, if we could just have a copy of that also so that the committee will have a copy of which whatever would happen since yung executive pastor naman nandito and there's an appointment pending. If we could have a copy of the document for the
Yes.
said appointment, Mr. Chair.
Attorney Ambrosio.
Your Honor, we will submit.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, to SEC lang for the clarification of this process. Ano po ba ang proseso ng pag-appoint ng administrator pagdating sa corporation sole? Since it's a different kind of corporation, it's a special kind of corporation na ang executive pastor lang naman na mag-a-administer ng mga properties and manage for on behalf of the members of the religious sect, Mr. Chair.
That's addressed to
The SEC.
SEC. You may reply.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair. To address the question of Honorable Nograles, when an entity incorporates in the SEC as a corporation sole, in the articles of incorporation, they will already specify who is the executive pastor or the elder or the rabbi or the chief of that corporation sole. That's
Mr. Chair, with regard to appointing of an administrator, should the executive pastor be incapacitated? What is the process po, Mr. Chair?
Per our record, with regard to KOJC, on December 16, 2022,
Sorry, Mr. Chair, I'm just asking for a general process, not with relation to the KOJC, Mr. Chair.
a letter of appointment will be issued by the current executive pastor to his successor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just to remind, since you're talking about the laws and the corporation code, given the gravity of what is happening with the media and everything, with regard to Section 111 also of the revised corporation code, para lang umiwas po sa mga violations, Mr. Chair, in any encumbrance, selling, disposal of property by an administrator or executive pastor, kailangan po rin po ng court approval dito with regard to that. And I'm just more appealing na sana sumunod po ang KOJC, ang Suarasog, or especially KOJC sa mga ganitong aspeto so that we won't be looking into further violations. And should there be any change again with the consent also of Congress. Yun lang po, Mr. Chair, just to raise it as a way of reminding lang po the corporations on their procedural aspects para wala na pong, iwas na po sa mga violations na pwedeng mangyari po, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Honorable Migs Nograles, SEC, please take note of the statement of the Honorable Migs Nograles. Thank you. Thank you. So, any other member that would like to speak for or against this measure? You have now the Honorable Gutierrez.
Yes, Mr. Chair, sorry, before we proceed po, no, just a few questions. Like I mentioned, we had some material questions that were left unanswered in the previous deliberations, and we'd like to take a crack at the theory of the good attorney Topacio that they might be able to answer po. No? So with the indulgence of this committee, may I proceed with my interpellation of the executive pastor?
Yes.
Mr. Chair, may I request that perhaps is the attorney Ambrosio capable of translating for Pastor Acobo? Yes. Okay, Mr. Chair. So that to keep it po within KOJC, no, while we no doubt appreciate the interpretation skills of the good attorney Tolentino, we would like to have a separate po, no, para we're not confused where KOJC ends and where SMNI begins. So, Mr. Chair, may I ask the good Pastor Acobo, through the good attorney Ambrosio, in your GIS papers, may we begin? How long have you been with the KOJC?
Your Honor, nagsugod ko sa pakikuban ko, Pastor, since 1985.
Your Honor, nagsimula po ako since 1985. Ipagsama kay Pastor since 1985.
Mr. Chair, I noticed the good pastor does not need a translator to understand my question. But
Nakasabot ko,
okay,
okay, Your Honor, pero
you understand. You
gusto lang
cannot
akong
express
ang akong gustong isulti.
You would prefer not to express in another language, or you are unable of expressing in another language?
Mas prefer ko nga musulti o Bisaya, Your Honor.
He prefers to answer in Cebuano or
It is a
Bisaya.
preference. Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. Just for the record. So, Mr. Chair, I'd like to ask the good pastor, no? So since 1985, but his appointment as executive pastor was on what date specifically?
Nagsugod ang ako ang pagkahimong executive pastor, Your Honor. Atong time nga gipil-upan na nako ang mga papers para sa Securities Exchange and Commission.
Nagsimula akong maging executive pastor nung pinirmahan ko yung mga papers for the Securities and Exchange
Parang
Commission.
hindi talaga ito
That was
executive.
December
2022.
2022.
Imagine,
O
bago-bago
pagka-
lang.
Sunod na tuig,
Para-
January 4,
Para lang
2023.
i-cover up si Kibuloy.
sa SEC ang
Sa dating nito, parang
executive pastor.
parang
It
pinili lang.
started in, December
Siguro
19,
janitor lang
2022,
ito doon
and on
na
January 4, 2023,
pinilit lang
it was
mag-sign
approved by
na
SEC.
executive
Your Honor,
pastor.
may I make a clarification?
Kung may mga
So,
KOJC members
what
dyan, si
Dr.
Arlene
Marlon is, pertaining
Stone.
to is the amended,
Kilala nyo ba ito?
articles
Baka
of incorporation
peke itong
since
pastor na
corporation
to.
souls are not required to submit general information sheets.
Okay, so we're now referring to the KOJC, Mr.
Kasi
Chair.
alam naman natin
But
yung
for the,
Kingdom of Jesus Christ is an international organization. Meron sila branches sa Amerika, meron sila branches sa or mga worship places sa Singapore, sa even sa Ukraine, at saka even sa Canada. Kung binibuild up ka over the years as executive pastor, at least inassign ka lang man sa mga lugar na yun or pinapunta ka lang man sa mga lugar na yun. At kahit Ingles, nakakapagsalita ka na ng Ingles. Pero ito ni Ingles, ni Tagalog, hindi. Or kung hindi ka man pinapunta sa abroad, at least pinapunta ka lang sa mga offices ng KOJC or prayer areas all over the country. And dito naman sa bansa natin, ang common national language natin, syempre, ay Filipino or Tagalog. Kahit si Bat nga, kahit bulol-bulol ang Tagalog, pero sa mga tao na hindi nakakaintindi ng Chabacano o ng Espanyol sa Luzon, sa Cebu, or Davao, nagsasalita tayo ng Tagalog at nagkaintindihan tayo or Ingles. Pero ito si Acobo, speaking neither English nor Tagalog. Hindi naman natin minamaliit ng tao na kahit kami nga dito, marami rin mga Chabacano na hindi magaling sa Ingles at hindi magaling sa Tagalog, pero at least nakakaintindi at saka hindi naman executive pastor. Isipin niyo na lang paano kung namatay si Kibuloy at pinasalita ito sa convention diyan sa Manila or pinasalita ito sa convention diyan sa Amerika. Paano magsasalita siya ng Bisaya? Parang napilitan lang ito sa itsura, sa dating, parang hindi nga pastor Baka gardener lang ito doon na sinabi, ikaw, kasi ayaw lahat. Ikaw, sige, dapat imbestigahan rin itong pastor na ito
Mr. Chair, we would have appreciated siguro po yung position paper weeks or days ago so that we can properly...
Okay guys, they're just debating yung mga papeles sinabmit ng KOJC ngayon lang. Hindi na wala ng panahon ma-review ng mga kongreso, parang ng mga congressman. So parang sinasabotahe talaga sila. Pero bumalik tayo dito sa issue na ito. Sabi ko kanina, natapos na tayo kanina, pero bumalik tayo because yun na-move si Congresswoman Franz Castro kasi ngayon pinag-uusapan nila yung paggawa ng administrator si former President Duterte na mga properties. Doon nga pinagdududahan na ni Congressman Raul Manuel. Sabi niya, dapat hindi ba bakit iba yung board member or head pastor ng KOJC at iba rin yung sa property. Si former President Duterte nga. So parang lumalabas talaga na itong si Acobo parang pinilit lang ilagay dyan as dummy. Pero ang tunay na hawak ng power at saka ng pera ng KOJC na bilyon-bilyon ay si former President Duterte. Kaya sabi ni Franz Castro, later on, kung siya na daw mag-interpellate, she will or question the resource person, she will move para i-invite rin si President Duterte para pag-usapan tungkol sa mga propriedad ng KOJC. Yan ang maganda. Kaya bumalik muna tayo to cover that. So ituloy natin.
We will now proceed with the rules supposedly na ito ay corporation sole. Mr. Chair, our question with SMNI is that for September 20 ng GIS and then April 2021 yung GIS, nandun pa rin po si Pastor Kibuloy. And it was both a stockholder and beneficial owner. I would assume that the beneficial ownership of Pastor Kibuloy does not come from his ownership of stocks, but of his influence and control of the corporation, as is per the rules of the SEC. But in the GIS of 2022 as of June submitted and 2023 as of May, he was no longer stockholder, neither was he beneficial owner, which would make sense for the appointment in December 2022. However, the GIS was submitted June 2022. So on the papers pa lang po ng GIS,
so nakita nila sa mga
Pastor Kibuloy.
mga pinepeke yung mga papeles.
Kaya how do we explain this incongruency, Mr. Chair?
Pwede ko muhatag og brief history nga nung nahimo kong executive pastor.
Can I give a brief history on how I became the executive pastor?
Parang pinapunta lang ito dyan para insultuhin yung Kongreso. Maniwala ba kayo na meron pa ba Pinoy na hindi nakakapagsalita ngayon ng ng Tagalog? Wala pinapunta lang ito sa Acobo para insultuhin lang ang Kongreso para bastusin ang Kongreso.
Executive pastor.
Ang plano ni pastor na umalis na sa pagka-executive pastor.
Kahit si Kibuloy parati nag-Ingles Kung nag-uusap sila nito, hindi sila nagkakaintindihan, parating Ingles
Okay.
Pwede naman sila magsalita ng Bisaya, pero
The following year,
di ba yung mga dyan membro ng mga Christian group, ang galing mag-Ingles at mag-Tagalog, kahit Bisaya, kahit
General
Chabacano.
meeting kauban sa tanang mga
Because they
international
read
o
in
national
English,
leaders.
they
2015,
they
we had a
participate
meeting with the
in meetings in
leaders
English or the
of
river
KOJC.
sermon in English, mga
I-announce
ganon.
na ni Pastor na iyan ang biyaan ang iyahang pagka-executive pastor.
Pastor Apollo already announced that he will leave his position as the executive pastor.
Ug iyan na ning itugyan sa mga board of administrators.
And he will entrust this to the administrators.
Mr. Chair, very quick.
Okay. Padayon sa Your Honor, pwede kong padayon.
Pabagal lang ito sa hearing eh.
Giingnan ako ni Pastor na ako sa succession plan
Marunong niya
sa
mag-Tagalog,
Kingdom of Jesus
kungwari
Christ.
lang. Kungwari lang yan, di marunong. O marunong niya
Na ako sa
mag-English.
succession plan.
Dalawa lang yan.
Na
Hindi
ako ang musunod sa iya.
kungwari hindi
In
marunong
2019,
mag-English,
I was
para
already
safe parati ang tanong
succession
kasi
plan.
meron pang interpreter
Na-formalize
or
ni Your Honor,
pinulot lang na
may
gardener
documents
at
para sa
trinain
SEC
para sumagot ng
December
sumagot.
19, 2020.
Maniwala ka ba? Nakita mo na itsura ni Kibuloy kumpara dito?
Intention pa rin 2016 kayo na. O 20, bakit hindi ho kayo 2016 o sa 20 kayo na? Sa mga dokumento, bakit ho sa December, sa 2020?
Fake pastor na, fake papers
Fake.
pa sa Security
Pumasok
Exchange
po ang pangalan
Commission.
ninyo. 2020.
Sige,
Na nagkabulbul na.
Tungod kaya ng panahon na ako sa abroad, ang akong assignment nasa abroad.
Saan?
Ako sa Middle East na-assign o sa Tibok, Africa.
So, okay.
And then,
So,
Kahit Africa at Middle East.
Opo.
English rin na salita
Klaro po
doon
tayo.
eh.
So, ang hindi pa rin ho
My
natin
God.
nasagot. Yung tanong ko ni...
English rin
bakit
salita sa
nagre-reflect
Africa
pa
at
rin
Middle
sa
East eh.
SEC documents
Kasi hindi
na
naman
yung
pag
pangalan po ni Pastor
hindi naman
Kibuloy,
ibig
nung
sabihin pagdating mo doon kaagad
sinasabi ko kayo na,
magaling ka na
hindi
magsalita
sinasabi
ng
ko na
sabihin
sabi
natin
kayo
natuto siya
sa-
magsalita ng Middle East or Arabic language or kaya African language. Pero marami doon nag-English rin, may mga foreigner rin doon na lalo na sa mga Africa na mga foreign community, mga mga workers doon, mga OFW, meron din tayo doon. Nag-i-English sa mga yun. Nakikita nyo nga yung mga dyan, yung mga tumitira kay Arlene Stone at saka ibang mga witnesses. Ang ganda ng mga English nila, parang may tuwang pa. Kasi yun nga, through the exposure sa English language delivery ng sermon ni Kibuloy. Ito, hindi siguro niya pinapakinggan yung sermon ni Kibuloy dahil hindi lang man siya natuto English kay Kibuloy. Kaya ang tagal-tagal na niya dyan, tumanda na siya dyan. Wala talaga. Hindi, sana mapansin ito ng mga congressmen. Hindi peke ito eh. Fake news, fake media station, fake religion, fake appointed son of God, fake executive pastor na si Ramon Acobo. Binobobo tayo ni Acobo.
Because the GIS still shows this is a Pastor Kibuloy.
yes, Your Honor.
Binobobo tayo
in
ni
fact,
Acobo.
the amended articles was released or approved by SEC on January 4, 2023.
Correct. Record
Yes.
also. So it still doesn't answer why is it the name of Pastor Kibuloy still there when in SEC it's so as far as we're concerned for the entire year of January of 2022 it was Pastor Kibuloy.
For
Ayun,
the entire
nabisto na sila.
year 2022, Your Honor, it was only on December 19 that the appointment of Pastor Apollo was provided or decided by the board.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, just a point of order.
Honorable
I don't know
Gutierrez.
if we have it in our rules. I'm sorry if I must write down at this point. No, Mr. Chair, the executive pastor was assigned abroad po, no? Perhaps we would appeal again that perhaps he would choose to express himself. I'm sure he's very capable in English. Because Mr.
Yun
Chair,
nga eh. Tama. O ngayon lang
for-
na-realize
when
ni
the
Kong eh.
testimony.
Kung sa
of
abroad
the,
ka,
you
nakaka-English
know,
ka.
we invite the resource persons to ferret out the truth, as DSJJ said. When it is being coursed through a colleague and an attorney at that, who has been also inputting her own answers in not as translation, nalilito po tayo kung
Oo,
which were
tama.
the words of
Oo.
pastor and which are the words of the attorney. Mr. Chair, he did say it was only a preference. Perhaps he would consider expressing himself.
In English.
Language understood by us all here.
English.
Your Honor, no, gustuhon man ako. Pero
Paano
mas
ka na-assign sa
ma-express
Africa at
magud
Middle
nako
East?
ang
Sa airport pa lang,
isulti.
magtanong ka lang sa direksyon,
kung
mahirapan
akong
ka
gamit ang
na.
mga akong
Kung
pinulungan.
hindi ka alam ng, hindi ka nakakaintindi ng English. Pinilit talaga ito pumunta dyan, na janitor, na hindi nakakaintindi ng English at Tagalog para
Mr. Chair,
para
with the
kunwari, parang
volunteerism
insultuhin
of,
lang ang Senado
Congresswoman
or
Karin,
para
she has offered
hindi
to
siya
translate
matanong
to
ng
for us,
kaano
no?
man,
Attorney Mark, you might want to translate first.
makuha lang yung
Mr.
mga
Chair,
congressmen,
It was stated.
maaburido
I
lang.
don't think he was listening. Yeah, Attorney Mark, kayo muna.
Ay gustuhin man niya magsalita ng Tagalog but he cannot express na anong komportable sa kanya.
So, Mr. Chair, whether or not we would accept, comfort or preference, luckily, the Honorable Garin has offered. This might be new for the committee,
Thank you.
no?
Yes.
But if we would accept that as our procedure going on, no? Parang we can separate rin yung testimony ni Attorney Ambrosio.
Yes.
Kasi kanina po, may translation sana for Pastor Acobo, pero may input naman sa GIS si Attorney Ambrosio, just to separate the two.
Thank you. The chair recognizes the other members of the committee, the Honorable Jojo Lara, who's here. Welcome, sir, of the 3rd District of Cagayan, and of course, the Honorable Janet Garin, 1st District, Iloilo. Meron po ba kayong sasabihin before we now...
Tama, di ko Eli, sinungaling
Thank you,
talaga,
Mr. Chair.
ginagago
Okay,
talaga.
okay, proceeding now back.
Binobobo
And,
talaga tayo
procedural
nila
question.
ni
Done.
Ramon
Yung tanong po
Acobo
natin
na
dito
ito.
is because there seems to be a disconnect between
Meron
the
mo
GIS
na-assign daw
of the
siya
SMNI
ng
with the
matagal sa
appointment
Middle
of,
East
Executive Pastor Acobo
at
and the
saka
internal
sa
workings of KOJC.
Africa.
Kasi po,
Sa airport pa lang,
admittedly, let us say in
mawala-wala ka na kung hindi ka
2019, there were
marunong magbasa
informal
ng
plans
Ingles.
to
Kung hindi
have
ka
an executive
makapagtanong
pastor
ng
Acobo take
Ingles.
over. And that this only took effect
Lalo
in
na
December
kung
2022.
tatanungin ko ng
It does not explain for the change of the GIS in
kayo
June
ba?
2022.
Kayo ba kung pupunta kayo sa France, sa immigration, tinatanong kayo in French? Kung pupunta kayo sa Taiwan, tinatanong kayo ng Chinese. Kung pumapasok kayo sa Africa, tinatanong ba kayo ng African language? Kung pupunta kayo ng Dubai o kaya sa Saudi Arabia, kinakausap ba kayo in Arabian? Alam naman Pinoy ka, pango ang ilong. Kinakausap kayo in English, which is of course almost the universal language other than French and Spanish. Pero when in doubt, speak English. Paano makalusot ito sa immigration pa lang? What is your purpose of entering the country? Where will you be residing? What will you be doing in the country? How many days will you be staying in the country? Hindi pa ito nakita ng mga congressmen, pero talagang pinapunta lang ito dito para insultuhin ang Kongreso, para pigilan yung pagkakataon makatanong na matinong tanong sa kanya as executive pastor ang mga congressman. Hay. Na-high-blood tayo dito. Hindi pa napapansin ng mga congressmen, tanungin naman tungkol dyan.
Executive directors. You will see the pastor.
Sa pag-submit, ma'am, Your Honor,
When it was submitted,
June, sa GIS, June 27.
Tama si Dico
2022.
Eli sa Africa daw, Bisaya
si Pastor
ang
Apollo Kibuloy, siya
lingwahe.
pa ang executive
Ay.
pastor.
so when it was submitted June 27, 2022, Pastor Kibuloy was still the executive pastor.
Opo.
Mr. Chair, then why was he not beneficial owner
Tama,
in
Ruth
2022?
Libon. Ganun talaga, anywhere in the
Ginawa man siya
world.
na beneficial owner sa 2022.
Yes, Attorney Ambrosio.
So okay
So,
guys,
Your
hanggang dito
Honor,
na tayo.
Pastor
Ah,
Apollo was not
Wala, ang
included
bagal
in
nito.
the
Matatapos nila ito bukas ng umaga. Sa bagal nito, sa tanong-tanong dito, pa-translate pa dito kay Kwan. Gusto lang talagang i-delaying tactic at hindi tulungan yung Kongreso na makakuha ng tamang sagot dito kay pastor na ito. Kumuha lang talaga ng janitor doon at dalawa lang yan. Either hindi talaga ito pinili lang na mag-appear at binihisan or kaya nakukunwari na hindi nakakaintindi. Sana tinanong, saan kayo na-assign sa Africa? Saan kayo na-assign sa Middle East? Ilang taon kayo doon? Bakit hanggang ngayon hindi pa kayo marunong mag-Ingles as a common language sa abroad? Ay. Okay na. Basta importante guys, ito lang. So, kanina na-discuss yung issue ng pagka-administrator ni former President Duterte. So, kaya sinabi ni Franz Castro, ganon, kung siya ang administrator, at tinanong nila ano kay Topacio, ano ba mga properties ni Kibuloy? Hindi masagot ni Topacio. So sabi nila, okay, ipapasagot natin yan kay Kibuloy kung umapir siya. Pero since ginawa na niya administrator si former President Duterte, then i-invite natin I will also move to invite Duterte. So yun ang pinakamagandang nangyari dito sa hearing na ito. Okay? So far. So yun lang muna tayo. And then tulad ng sinabi ko kanina, I will be giving you updates kung meron man. And we will make a chop video of this para maintindihan nyo yung issue. Tawag nila bite size kasi kung mga 3 hours, 4 hours ito tatagal, hindi naman kayo manonood. Kukunin lang natin yung mga important parts tulad yung ginawa natin ngayon na iimbitahan na si Duterte as administrator of the KOJC. So hanggang dito na muna ulit tayo. Please share this vlog to friends and relatives. And thank you very much for watching and I'll be seeing you in my next vlog.